Artificial intelligence is moving incredibly fast. A few years ago, most people thought that AI was just some science fiction, something that existed in movies. But today, millions of people use AI literally every day, and some people don't want to admit it, but they're using it. I mean, it's everywhere. Students are using it in courses. I'm at a doctoral level, and now they've added AI in the mix. Businesses are using it to automate tasks. Employees are using it daily. They're using it to write emails, analyze information. They're even using it to create presentations, like using things like Gamma and things like that. Some are using still just PowerPoint, but either way, it's still incorporated there, right? And companies are investing billions of dollars in AI, trying to build the next generation of AI systems. But as these systems become more powerful, a debate has started. How do we make sure this technology is developed safely? And who should decide on the rules? Over the past few years, leaders from some of the biggest AI companies have publicly supported some form of government involvement in regulating advanced AI. This includes execs from some of the companies like OpenAI, for example, 'cause they're very popular, right? Google, DeepMind, even Anthropic. And this is very interesting because these companies are not exactly like the ones that are just sitting on the sidelines. I mean, these are companies that are literally competitors. They're fighting for market share. They're fighting for talent. They are competing to build the most advanced AI systems. And normally, companies want fewer restrictions. Typically, they want the freedom to just move faster, move around. They want innovation, right? But in this case, some of these leaders are saying we need guardrails. Now, that does not mean that they all want the same exact rules. They are in disagreement, on some of the rules, what they should look like, for example. How strict should it be? Who should enforce it? How do you prevent governments from slowing innovation? Because we all know what happens when government steps in with things, right? And I mean, those are some major questions if you really think about it. But the fact that some of the biggest companies in the world are even asking for oversight, that should catch a lot of people's attention. It certainly caught my eyes because it raises an obvious question, which is why? Why would a company building the future want someone else telling them what they can and cannot do? How does it make sense? Now, this is all opinionated, right? Because to me, I think that there are a few possibilities, and I want to be clear. Nobody outside these companies knows exactly what every exec is obviously thinking, but there are several arguments being made. For one, AI is becoming extremely powerful. I mean, extremely powerful. So one argument is that AI systems are becoming so capable that they need safety standards, and people might kind of agree with that. But just think about it. A calculator can do math, right? A spreadsheet can organize information. But modern AI systems can generate text, they can analyze data, they can write codes, they can create images now. I mean, a lot of people use them for images. It can even interact with people. I mean, look at what's that, Siri, and what's the other one you have? Comment below, you know what I'm talking about. But the more capable that these systems become, the bigger the conversation starts to go around, right? What happens if this technology is used irresponsibly? Who's really thinking about that one? How do you prevent misuse? Because again, like I said earlier, it's becoming, or should I say already is, very, very powerful, right? How do you make sure that companies are testing these systems properly? How do you create accountability? A second one, creating common standards, because that's something that, across the board with a lot of companies. similar standards, right? So another argument is that the rules could actually help companies. So imagine if every company had completely different standards, right? One company tests their AI aggressively. Another company moves faster and take more risk. Then a third company does something completely different. Some people argue that having common standards creates a level of a playing field, right? A standard of playing field, similar to how industries have safety regulations. Cars have safety requirements. Buildings have safety codes, right? Medical companies have their testing requirements. So the argument is basically if AI is becoming important infrastructure, maybe it needs some type of framework. Now, there is another side to this conversation as well. Um, Critics argue that regulation could benefit the companies that already dominate AI. So the companies that already dominating AI will benefit, not the ones that are not currently, dominate, trying to get their foot in the door, right? And the reason is because large companies have billions of dollars, of course, right? They have their lawyers, they have their compliance teams, they have resources and everything else. Compared to a smaller startup company might have an amazing AI idea, but if the regulations become extremely expensive or complicated, how can that smaller company truly succeed? Even though that idea is just blowing everything out the water. How can they succeed with all those strict regulations? So instead of creating more competition, regulation could actually make the bigger companies even more powerful, and the smaller companies with the awesome ideas, unfortunately, just get overlooked and won't succeed. So that's another important note, because when governments create rules, there's always some unintended consequences. So why should you even care? That's what some people probably say. I can care less about this stuff that's going on with AI because honestly, I get why you feel that way. But a lot of people, when you hear AI regulation, right, you think, oh, that's a Silicon Valley problem, but it's not, because AI is going to affect regular people, whether you like it or not. AI is here and is going to affect you. AI is going to affect your job. It's going to affect your business. It's going to affect your career options. It's going to affect your ability to compete. Like, look at what's already happening. Companies are asking, can AI help employees work faster? You're seeing the big thing with the AI took our jobs thing. You guys seen that? Like, it's literally here. Can AI reduce repetitive tasks? Right? Basically, what can AI do for all these improvements? Can it help analyze data? Can AI improve customer service? Literally every single thing. And the answer to these questions, guys, and unfortunately, the answer is yes. But here's where people get confused. The conversation is not simply AI is going to replace everybody. That's too simplistic for them. The biggest question is who is going to know how to use AI effectively? Because historically, a new technology has always, created winners, and you gotta, say what it is, create losers too. It's no sugarcoating. That's just the reality of it. So the people who adapt early, they are the ones who often gain the advantage. The people who ignore the change, you know what it is, you usually struggle. So just think about it. Think about the internet. Think about smartphones. Think about social media, for example. Every major technology shift created opportunities for people to learn how to use it. I mean, just think of even this platform, YouTube. Every literally opportunity, like, and AI would likely be the same. So, what should the average person actually do? That's another question, too, because should you panic? I would say no. Should you ignore AI? Absolutely not. You can't. The smartest thing you can do is to learn. You don't need to become a computer scientist, right? You don't need to build your own AI model and learn all the coding and the prompting and all that stuff, right? But you don't need to understand every single thing, but you should understand a lot of things actually. You need to understand, okay, how can AI make you more productive? How can AI help you solve problems faster? How can AI improve your skills? How can AI help you create opportunities? Basically, all these things that I spoke about earlier that the corporations are using AI for. You need to be thinking about these things yourself because the future probably won't belong, exactly to the people how you think they belong to. It's gonna belong more to AI. I mean, just thinking about it, a manager who knows how to use AI may outperform a manager who doesn't. A small business owner using AI may compete against companies much larger than them. A job seeker who knows AI how to use the tools, they're going to stand out compared to someone who doesn't. That is why learning AI is it's very, very important. Very important. So here's how I look at it, guys. Whether you support more AI regulations or you think the government should just stay the heck away and mind their own business, I think one thing is very clear. AI is not slowing down. It's moving at warp speed. And waiting around hoping this technology disappears, we're gonna be waiting forever. I mean, by that time the freaking aliens been came here and said, "Hey, we ones that brought you guys all this technology. Look, hey, we're gonna walk around in public now." So it's basically that's probably the wrong strategy, right? The people who benefit the most from new technology are usually the ones who understand it early. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to start. You just gotta learn, experiment, figure out where AI can fit into your life because it's going to happen. I mean, you're not going to be somewhere, just living somewhere, trying to be off the grid and, well, let me avoid, yeah, you can't. It's still going to be there. You're going to use your phone to record or what, with a camera, whatever the case, you got to plug in it. Like, it's going to be there. So at the end of the day, the question isn't, will AI change the world? That question really has already been answered, I would say. The real question is, will you know how to adapt? But don't panic. Don't believe every scary AI headline that you see out here. Don't assume AI is either going to save humanity or destroy humanity tomorrow. The reality is it's probably somewhere in between. But one thing is certain, the people who learn how to use AI, they already have an advantage. And the people who don't use it, again, you see where I'm going with that. And that's why this is what this channel is about. It's helping everyday people understand technology, rebuilding your skills, and stay valuable in this constantly changing world. That's the mission.